Hello everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have a Dell Inspiron 15 Series 7000. This is a 7559 model, and in this video I'm gonna go over how you can open it up and how you can clean the fan system, the thermal paste, and the whole motherboard from inside. And it's really easy. You can do it at home. It takes about probably 20-30 minutes of your time, and it's really good. If yours is running really hot, you probably have a clogged, lots of dust clogged in there, or your thermal paste is probably dried out. And by doing this, you're not gonna damage anything in the system or configuration. It's safe to do this. So I'm gonna go over the tools that I'll be using. And first thing first, you're gonna use a one sheet of the workshop towel and a screwdriver set. I would recommend you guys grab the UFIXTEK screwdriver set, as they have one of the best screwdrivers out there. And if you get a pro set, they will include you with an opening tools and some tweezers. If not, grab yourself an opening tool, a guitar pick. And metallic guitar picks are very suitable to do this service. And a curved tweezers. And obviously you need a good thermal paste. You can go with an Arctic MX4, or you can go over the board and grab yourself a Thermal Grizzly Cryer nut. I'll leave those links in the video description. And the most important one is an alcohol. You need an isopropylic or isopropylic 95% or 99% alcohol. It's really important to have this one. Alright, first thing first, you're gonna power off the laptop. You're gonna remove the keyboard. To remove the keyboard, you gotta push back the hinges right in here between the last key. Right where the power button is, right underneath is a little tiny hinges. There's a tiny hinge right on top of the delete, F10, F5, and F1. So we're gonna push these ones back, and we're gonna scoop the keyboard. Let me see. There we go. And then scoop the keyboard upward. Do this for all of them. There. And there we have it. Now you're gonna grab it from the middle, and you're gonna pull it up just like this. You're gonna flip it down like that, and we're gonna remove the backlight by lifting up this tiny black hinge upward and pull the cable backward. For this flex cable, same thing. Put your finger there, 90° up, and pull the flex cable back. Next, down here, we're gonna disconnect the power on switch. I think that you don't need to, but I'm just gonna disconnect it for safety reasons. So we're gonna lift it on. And people always say, why don't you disconnect the battery? You could go back, disconnect the battery. For the sake of the video, I'm gonna do it, but you don't need to. I'm just gonna disconnect some screws, but let's go ahead back there and disconnect the battery before you guys get really paranoid. To disconnect the battery, you're gonna remove the back cover by removing one Phillips screw at the back in here. This screw has a little C-lock on it, so that means the screw will not come out entirely, so you just have to loosen up, put the opening tool there, and grab it and bring it upward. So there's the bottom cover. You can go ahead and clean up your dust mesh down here. And the battery is right in front of you right there. So what you want to do, you want to grab this cable right there and pull up the cable up towards the ceiling, and the battery will get disconnected. Okay, so once we are down here, so let's go take an advantage and grab a forks number 8, and let me flip this one. We're going to remove the battery first, removing 5 screws that touches the battery, 2 on here, 2 on here, and 1 right at the back. So remove these screws and keep them in one pile. Alright, once you remove those, now you want to grab the battery from the cable or from here, bring it up and pull it out, put it to one side. Next, we're going to disconnect with the Phillips screw the SSD that you have. You might have a different SSD. Just remove the 4 screws that touches the carry. We're going to grab this flip thing right in here, and we're going to pull it towards the ceiling, just like that. There's the thing I was talking about. Just grab it and pull it up, and you can remove the hard drive. Next, I'm going to grab a tweezers and we're going to untangle this cable right here. Just bring it up, just untangle it. across the whole thing here. So it goes like that. This is the power jack. So it's connected. Now we're gonna pull it up toward the ceiling, same thing. So put it to one side. We are gonna disconnect the flex cable for the LCD, same thing with the hard drive connector. Just pull it up and untangle this cable. Put it to one side. Okay. Now we're gonna again there's few screws on the other side, but down here there's no screws on the front end of the laptop. So we're gonna remove the screw right there, two on the bottom casing and one right in here. So go ahead and remove all these screws. So there should be a total of 4 screws down here. Once you remove these 4 screws, we're gonna go ahead and remove the cables for the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. Just pull it up and untangle it again. Bring it to one side. Right. Okay, we're gonna remove the Wi-Fi board by removing one screw and pull it out straight backward. You do not need to remove the RAMs or anything like that, so double check, make sure there's no more screws left. These screws are we're not going to touch. Now we're going to flip it back the other way around, and we are going to remove few screws down here. We are going to remove the screws right here. There should be 2 screws. In here there's no screws or anything like that. This is the speaker cables right there. Now I'm going to disconnect this flex cable. This is for trackpad, but I believe that we are going to disconnect it, so I'm just going to leave it on. You can plug it back in later on. So let's go ahead and see what we get down here. So I'm going to put it in this position, and I'm going to try to use the opening tool between the palm rest and the bottom key here. And we are going to just twist it, stick it right in there, and twist it. Little twisting on the sides, on the front. Do the sides, same thing. You want to stick the guitar pick in there, and you just want to twist it. Just like that. Open up the screen a little more so you guys can see. This is an old laptop, so you might get little tiny hinges. This black hinge is broken, so don't worry about it. It's normal because of the plastic. It gets really dried up after a while, so that's really normal. So we're gonna do left and right. So I'm gonna put my guitar pick on the right side. You want to hear those clips loosening up, and there we have it. Now what we're gonna do, you're gonna open it up. We're gonna lift it up, and we're gonna bring it up a little bit, wiggle it around. Make sure that I haven't not missed any other screws down there. And we are gonna bring it up a little higher. Okay, so let's go ahead and loosen up a little in the back end, so do not tense the plastic. So I'm gonna loosen up the plastic right there. Right in the corners. And right there. Okay, so I'm loosening up the plastic right here. So it's easier. Usually comes out when you pick up the front end. So yeah, we're gonna lift it up, bring it up because of the weight on it. So there's your palm rest. That we disconnected the power on switch and the trackpad right there. You can put that to one side. Now we can see the fan system right in here. You can grab, if you don't want to remove the Repaste, you can grab the fan, bring it to one side and clean up the fan system. That's one way. Okay. Now the motherboard is sitting down from this side down. So first we're going to remove this fan by pulling it up I don't usually like putting on this fragile cable, so I put my tweezers right on the side of the fan and I gently wiggle around and disconnect it right there. You can use your fingernails or you can use tweezers. Okay, so there's your one fan. Same thing in here. Grab this one, untangle the cable right in here, and in here I'm going to use my fingernails, put it right there, and then pull it back. So there's your second. So now we do need to remove this side from here. So there's a tiny hinges. There's a tiny hinge right in here. So we need to push this tiny hinge towards this side and loosen up. Pull back the speaker cable for the subwoofer. The same thing as a fan cable. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave it on. I'm not gonna disconnect this cable. No need to. Okay. Now the motherboard is being held down with no screws. So I'm gonna close down the lid so it doesn't go back. I'm not gonna disconnect the battery for the BIOS. We're gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna remove it from there. It has a little adhesive. Just pull it back, leave it loose. Okay. Grab the motherboard. There's a tiny hook right in the middle. You wanna let go of those hooks. And grab the motherboard, bring it up, wiggle it around, and it should release itself. Don't let go of it because the screen is heavy, it's gonna go backward. So leave it like that, and there's your motherboard. So now we're gonna put the whole chassis, everything to one side for a second, and we're gonna work on the motherboard. Alright, let's bring it like this so you guys can get a better view. So there's the motherboard right there. Now to remove the heatsink, we are gonna remove the 4 screws on the CPU, 4 screws on the GPU. They do have a C-lock on them. I usually remove them with an X shape. This thermal paste is really dry, so we are gonna change it. So you do not need to replace the thermal pads. The thermal pads on these ones are really fine. You don't need to, but if you do want to replace them, the 0.5mm thermal pads, I'll leave the link in the video description. Grab any thermal pads and just cut them to size and replace it. So we're gonna grab a workshop towel, soak it in alcohol, and we're gonna wipe the CPU just like that. Flip it inside out and wipe the GPU. Be careful with the capacitors on the sides. Make sure you have enough alcohol on the towel so the towel gets ripped, not the capacitors. Just do a nice wipe on top. So this is what happens when you put enough alcohol. You don't damage the capacitors, you get teared down the towel. I'm gonna gently, with a dry part, clean up, do a second pass, and there we have it. We're gonna grab this one, the heatsink, we're gonna soak it on alcohol. Same thing here. We're gonna wipe this gunk right all over. Next, we're gonna apply a little more straight on top. And we are gonna clean up the heatsink. Alright, now that we clean up the heatsink, we're gonna do a second pass once we finish to make sure that there is no bumps and anything on the heatsink. There we have it. Now we're gonna grab our thermal paste. We're gonna put one tiny line on the CPU die. And we are gonna put another drop right in the middle of the GPU. Put enough amount, don't be scared, it's not conductive. Once you put these ones right on top, now we're going to grab the heatsink. We're going to bring it down. Make sure you bring down the screw holes evenly. Don't lift up again. I'm going the other way around. And once you put it down, do not lift it up again. Otherwise, you have to repaste. Set it down. There's a little numbers on top. You can follow the numbers, but as long as you screw them on X shape, you're more than fine. I usually do one on each corner like this, and then I'll do the center ones. So that way the thermal paste, it gets spread evenly all over the GPU and CPU. Once we're done with this one, now we're gonna grab the bottom case. The screen. We're gonna set it down, and we are gonna flip over the motherboard. We're gonna put the heatsink side down at the back, and put the RJ45, the internet right down there. Set it down, and then we're gonna push down. Make sure you hit that click for the clip in the middle. That means it's in the place. Sit down the BIOS battery right in there. Put the subwoofer connector right in the corner, right there. And put the audio jack in there and push down on the connector in the jack right in here. Make sure it goes all the way down. It didn't go, so I'm gonna remove. I'm gonna sit down the USB right in its place. And then I'm gonna push it down right there. Okay, grab the fan on this side. I'm going to tangle the cable right there. Slide the connector for the fan. That's important. People usually forget that. Put the second fan connector right in there, straight in. Set down the fan right in its place. Alright, there's no screws. Oh, I forgot this flex cable. There's stood right underneath. Don't pull it out. Be careful with it. There we go. Now we're gonna connect this front end LEDs. Slide it right through there and close the lock. Right on top. Now we're gonna grab the palm rest. We're gonna bring it down evenly, make sure everything is in its place. There's nothing moving around. Cables not on the way. Okay. Bring it down, sit it down, and push down the back end. You want to hit those tiny clicks. On the sides, make sure you hit those few hundred clicks. That's what you want to hit. You want to pinch the front end and top. Okay. Once you're done with those, on the back there should be a few more. Grab the two screws. Let me see. Yeah, two screws on the top part. We're gonna put these two screws right in its place. We're gonna slide down the connector for the trackpad right inside the jack. Close it down. The power on switch. Open up the jack and slide it all the way down and close it down. We're gonna grab the keyboard. We're gonna put it in offset position. We're gonna connect the flex cable for the backlight. It goes down in 45-degree angle and lock it down. The flex cable for the keyboard. 45-degree inside the jack. Sit it down and lock it down. And now let's double check everything is in its place. And put the front end of the keyboard under the palm rest. And squeeze the side. And then let go and squeeze on the clips. And there you have the keyboard right in its place. And we are almost there. We're gonna flip it and we're gonna work on the bottom part. Alright, down here we're gonna run the cable for the LCD. You actually didn't have to remove the LCD, but now you know how to remove it. push down the LCD. No, you didn't have to disconnect it because you have to remove the motherboard. Right, run the cable for the Wi-Fi first. Right under those flaps. And push down the power jack right inside the connector. And tangle the cable right in its place. Grab the Wi-Fi board. Before I put the Wi-Fi board in, I'm gonna move the cable off to one side in 45-degree angle and then lock down this and just snap down the connectors. They do a tiny click once you snap it down. Alright. Again, if you like my videos, if my videos are helping you guys out, you can support the channel by clicking the like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. You're gonna put the 4 screws right at the back, 2 inside and 2 outside. Next is to grab the hard drive. We're gonna put it down. We're gonna lock in on that one right there. You're gonna put the 4 screws for the hard drive. If you have an SSD, you have to remove your SSD. Okay. Grab the battery, put the bottom end of the battery in front of the laptop in 45 or 65 degree and then let go. Push it down. Change it to torque number 8. Torques number 8. I will power it on so you guys can see that it powers on. To connect the battery, just push the connector right on top and push it all the way down, and there we have it. The last thing here is to grab the bottom cover, put the front of the laptop down there first, and then squeeze the sides and then tighten up the screw at the back. Again, I hope you guys like this video. If you have any question or requests, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. If you see any opening, just pinch them together. Now let's go power it on. The power light is on. I'm going to press F2 to go to the BIOS. There we go. And we are inside the BIOS. It's going to shut down and it's going to come back, but it's going to go to the BIOS. F2. There we go. We have the RAM detecting and the CPU and everything is working fine. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video.